Hello beloved, this is Tony. I'm going to start off the video with this photo. I want you to look at it. One eye, the square is one way, the other eye, the square is the other way, but up in the top there, the red and blue is the violet. And I want to show you what can be done with duality and how you can be subconsciously trained and have no idea what is being done to you. So now what I'm showing you is some of the authority buildings around in my area. And I just want you to notice the columns. And the columns are the symbols of the duality. There's 3 on one side, 3 on the other side. 6 columns. Now here is my local bank. It's a new building they just built. There's 3 columns on one side, 3 columns on the other side. Even the address, 123. Would be 6. 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6. This is a local courthouse. And the thing is you walk in these buildings, but they're symbolizing the temple. You see, because of the columns, because of Solomon standing the column. So they're saying God dwells in these buildings, which are these men. Now see, there's 3 on the right, and I just want to show you on this one because this is what's so interesting. Okay, so what I want to try and show you is what I have found in the structures of the buildings, of these authority buildings. And it sort of works like this. And it's, the best I can tell, there's 3 different patterns, but it seems to have to do with the levels of authority. Some of them will only use 2 columns. Okay? Some will use 2 columns on one side, 2 columns on the other side. The most authority is when they do the 3 columns on one side and they do 3 columns on the other side. Okay? So these are like almost like levels of authority in some kind of way. But what I want to tell you is all of them will have a hidden column. And the hidden column, usually these are round. You know, most of the time these are round columns. Circles, symbolizing circles, round columns on all of them. But what they do is, and I'm just going to try and show it to you like this. Let's say this is the most authority. Okay, it'll be a porch. It'll have a column here, a column here, column here. There's one here, and one here. And I'm doing a top view of this. Okay, usually your door is here in the middle. There's another door here, and there's another door here. But I'm going to show you the hidden columns. It's always right back here in the corner, and it is always a square. And what I'm going to tell you this square is, it's the perception. Okay, so these 3 columns is equal to this perception. These 3 columns is equal to this perception. And what I want to show you is what they do. And then let's look and take these 2 perceptions, and we're going to call this from here to here is duality. It's duality. But a weird way in duality, let's say this is a stick, and this is one end of the stick, and this is the other end of the stick. It's dividing the stick in a weird way. You get your cross. But, you know, I did like that. So what I want to show is, though, and this is so crazy to even show this, but it's in the buildings, and I just want you to see them for yourself. So what happens is, if when they take these 2 perceptions and merge them together, you get what is called the squared square. Okay, you get the 8 pointed star. Okay, you also get the seal of Melchizedek, Mechelzedek. It's in, I forget where it is in Scripture, but Melchizedek is the high priest of God that blesses Abraham. Okay, so you get the seal of Melchizedek. It's just showing. Sometimes you see the symbol done like this. You'll only see the outside of it. That was just me connecting the pieces and just playing with it. But you'll see this sort of pattern. Okay, and what I want to show you is even in these buildings, in these photos, and I'm showing you these levels of authority. Okay, this is like in like a level 1, like a level 2, and like a level 3 when they have the 6, but always in the back they have a square one, even though it really doesn't hold up anything. It's just the symbol of the perception. Okay, and these would be equal to, that's 1. You see the same thing, and it's sort of the idea of male, female, sun, moon, land, water. Okay, left hand, right hand. And they tell you, see, that's the trick of the duality. I just made a comment to someone. They were saying, oh, the glass is half full. I used to be a half full person. I always believed it was half full until I come to understand the dualities. And even half full is a trick of duality. It's the idea, is the glass half empty or is the glass half full? Lesser of two evils, okay? It's neither. The glass just simply is. Alright, and the squared square here is that understanding of the glass just simply is. Now, what I want you to notice in some of these photos, I'm going to go back and show you, of these buildings, this symbol here, you'll see a lot of times up at the top in the eave of the church. And it'll be a window, and it's divided like that. And this is almost the understanding of the single eye. The eye has become as one. And I've shown this in some of my other ones, in the symbolisms of things. I was just flipping through some of my videos the other day. In one of the older videos, I was actually showing a level of symbols up to 9. Right? And I've even, tried to show that even Yahweh, I can't do Hebrew very well. Okay, looks like 9, N-I-N-E, 9. Alright, so in these buildings, I'm just going to try and point this out a little bit more, but the columns are symbols of temples of God. Now, my bank has 6 columns. When you study the actual architecture of the building, they have, on one side of the building, they have 4 columns symbolizing this here. Then they have the other 4 on the other side of the building. And it's just amazing that they're hiding this understanding of sacred geometry, which has a lot to do with Scripture, in the building itself. So it's almost this idea. What's on the outside of the building is truth, but what's inside of the building is lies. Now let me show you some of these photos. Now here's one of the churches, and it's only a level 2. Okay, so you're going to see 2 columns on the left, but notice in the back, on the back of the porch, the square column. This is the right side. 2 is on the right, but notice the square column on the back. Now this one, and I'm going to zoom in to show you, it actually has the column in the back, but it's hidden in the brickwork. So now watch this. Now here, in this courthouse with the two columns on the porch, directly behind the two columns is a square brick column that is hidden in the brickwork. And here, this is where I'm showing you the squared square. If you connect the cross, or the plus, then connect the X, you'll get the squared square. Here's the home of a very wealthy individual in the community. See the three columns on the right side of the porch, and notice in the far back right is the square column. That's a perception. The left is equal to that. Now, here is another church, and there's your columns. Okay, it's a level 2, and I want you to look at the top. You can't see it in this photo, but I'm going to try and give you a close-up of it. Is 2 tiles, and they're squared square. So let's see if I can show you that one in this one. Okay, so I'm just wanting to try and show you a little bit better what this tile was showing you. It was this squared square. It even makes me think about the planting of the garden, leaving the corners for the poor. Okay, but it's really the idea of 3 columns equals 1 perception. Okay, then 3 columns equals an opposite perception. Okay, which we would call this duality. Duality, the 2 opposites, all right? And what they're doing is they're teaching lesser of 2 evils, like you have to pick one of these, okay? It's the duality of things. But what they do is in the building, if you start at the ground level and go up to the building, okay, and then you're going to have your, say, 3 columns and your 3 columns. Well, then here they'll usually have your squared square, okay, the 9, the 8 and the 9, and then here is the, I guess the what do you call that? The gable, the peak, the chapel, another column really, okay, but this is usually 8-sided. It'll have 8 sides on this. So it's in a weird way they're teaching it, but they don't really teach it. It's only in the building itself. There was something else I was going to show you. Major thing. The Pope is speaking at St. Patrick's Cathedral. And I want you to look at that because that's what's so weird. These cathedrals... I'm just going to do it like this. I'm not a good artist. Okay? Usually there's like a door here. If you look at the St. Patrick ones, this is perfectly like this. Okay, so even when you look at the St. Patrick's Cathedral, it's the same thing. Okay, and these are equivalent to a square. A perception, all right, but this would be that. It's the 2 or 1. It's like, okay, you got to choose one of your hands, your left or your right. Can't have them both. But the idea is, no, I do. I have both. I have a left and a right. And it's in the buildings. That's all I can tell you. It's in the buildings. All right, so now here is a photo of St. Patrick's Cathedral. See the tower on the left and the tower on the right, but see the cross is in the middle. You see, so it's hidden in the building. Now this is another very good photo because of the sacred geometry that's in the center. If you look at that is the squared square. It's 8 pointed. It's in the center. Another way is what I would tell you is what's called the tetragrammaton. I'll show you this one.